You know that feeling when you use something, maybe an app or even walk into a building and it just works, like really works for you?
Yeah, it feels effortless, almost like they knew exactly what you needed.
Exactly. And then there's the flip side, right? The website that makes no sense, the confusing
Oh,
instructions.
totally. Where you feel completely overlooked, or worse, just frustrated, annoyed even.
Oh, totally. Where you feel completely overlooked, or worse, just frustrated, annoyed even.
Right. So what makes that difference, that huge gap between something feeling great and something being, well, awful?
It's often something deeper than just, the basic function or how it looks.
And that's what we're diving into today, empathy and design. What
Mm.
does it really mean to build things that feel, well, human-centered?
We hear that term human-centered thrown around quite a bit, but
Hmm.
empathy, that's really the heart of it. It's about creating stuff that genuinely connects with people.
Going beyond just does it work, or is it pretty?
Exactly. It's digging into the emotions, the thoughts, the actual lived experiences behind how people interact with things. It changes how you even start the design process. That sounds crucial. And you mentioned understand emotions. It's important, I think, to clarify what empathy is in this context. It's not just feeling sorry for someone, is it?
No, that's a really key distinction. That's sympathy feeling for someone. See, they're having a hard time. Maybe you feel pity.
So sympathy is like, that website looks annoying for you. Bummer.
Pretty much. Empathy, especially in design, is about trying to feel with them. It's the active work of stepping into their shoes, understanding that frustration from their point of view.
Feeling the clunkiness with them.
Yes, and figuring out why it feels that way, what the real impact is. That little shift from for to with, it's fundamental. It's how you create things that actually resonate.
Okay, so let's unpack that more. Empathy as this philosophy that basically says, we see you, we hear you.
That's really the essence. It pushes designers beyond the surface level into understanding people's actual lives, their feelings, their hopes even.
And that's vital for creating genuinely inclusive spaces, right? Whether
No,
digital or physical.
absolutely vital. Think digital products, buildings, city planning.
Hmm.
You have to consciously hold space for the huge diversity of people who will use these things. You need to acknowledge their histories, their unique journeys.
Which connects directly to tackling historical exclusion, I imagine. So many things were designed by, well, a pretty narrow group of people for a long time.
That's spot on. For decades, decisions in urban planning, product design, you name it, were often dominated by, frankly, white male perspectives.
And the result, environments and tools that just didn't work well, or sometimes at all, for women, people of color, people with disabilities.
Exactly. Empathic design isn't passive about this. It actively looks for those historical biases, those systemic exclusions that are still baked into things today, and tries to fix them. It forces you to ask, constantly, who are we leaving out? Whose reality haven't we considered?
But that kind of deep work, the slowing down, needed to really listen. That feels like it clashes with the speed often demanded, especially in tech.
Oh, it's a huge tension, the
Yeah.
major one.
Yeah.
Genuine understanding takes time, takes intentional effort, resources, patience. Things that are often in short supply when there's pressure to ship quickly.
So the organization itself needs to value it.
Yes, the whole culture needs to shift. You need organizational empathy to support designer empathy. Valuing that deep qualitative research over just hitting a deadline is key.
Okay, so empathy is this foundational commitment. But how do designers actually do it? What's in the toolkit to move from philosophy to practice?
Well, it usually starts with the first stage of design thinking, the empathize phase. This is where you explicitly set aside your own assumptions.
You stop guessing.
Right. It's all about actively understanding users, their needs, feelings, motivations, before you even start defining the problem or sketching ideas. It's inquiry first.
Makes sense. So what are the practical methods? How do they build this understanding?
One of the most powerful is deep listening and user interviews. This often means one-on-one conversations with a real mix of potential users.
Not just surveys.
Definitely not just surveys. It's about asking open-ended questions, encouraging people to tell stories, and really truly listening, not just to the words, but the tone, the pauses.
The body language.
Exactly. What are they not saying? What do their nonverbal cues tell you? You're trying to grasp the feeling underneath the words, the emotional texture.
Got it. What else?
Then there's observation and contextual inquiry. This is about watching people use things in their actual environment, in their messy kitchen, on a noisy commute.
Seeing the reality, not the lab setting.
Totally. You uncover things people would never think to tell you because it's just habit. Like, I remember hearing about designers observing people pouring Cheerios straight from the box into a plastic bag for an on-the-go snack.
Revealing an unmet need for portable packaging, maybe.
Precisely. Or seeing how people combine multiple cleaning products because no single one does the job they need. That observation shows you friction points, innovation opportunities, even after launch, because you see how the product fits or doesn't fit into their real lives.
That makes so much sense. You see the workarounds people invent. What other tools are there?
Journey mapping is another big one. You visualize the user's entire experience step by step.
Like a timeline.
Kind of, yeah. You map out each interaction point, but critically, you also chart their emotional state throughout. Were they excited here, frustrated there, relieved at the end?
So you're mapping the emotional highs and lows.
Exactly. It clearly shows where the pain points are not just functional hiccups, but real emotional dips.
And how do you pull all this insight together? From the interviews, the observation.
That's often where empathy mapping comes in. It's a tool, usually collaborative, to organize what you've learned. You sort insights into what the user says, does, thinks, and feels.
So it creates a shared picture of the user's inner world.
Precisely. It helps the whole team get on the same page and leads to actionable insights. Not just random observations, but a holistic understanding.
Okay, so you've done the listening, the watching, the mapping. You're immersed in their world. Then what?
Then you start making things tangible with prototyping and iteration. Build rough versions, low-fidelity mock-ups, and this is key, take them back to the users.
Get their feedback early and often.
Yes, but it's not just about, does this button work? It's how does this make you feel? Does it fit into how you actually do things? It's a loop. Build, test with real people, learn, refine. Build, test, learn, refine.
It sounds like this process gets you way beyond just solving the obvious problem.
It really does. Empathic design is brilliant at uncovering those needs people can't even articulate. It gets to the why behind their behavior. By asking, what did we see? How did that happen? And crucially, why might they be doing that? You peel back the layers.
Moving from just what they do to why they care.
Exactly. From the concrete actions to the abstract motivations.
And doing this well must mean getting outside your own bubble, right? Your own experiences.
Oh, absolutely. It's critical. Designers need to actively engage with people very different from themselves. Immersive stuff like actually shadowing someone or doing that contextual inquiry, it forces you to confront your own biases in a way just thinking about it never can.
It makes the understanding more real, more authentic.
Definitely. It's about experiential learning, not just theory.
Okay, so we've got a good handle on the what and how. Let's talk impact. Where are we seeing this approach really change things?
You see it everywhere, honestly. It's transforming whole industries. When design gets empathy right, the solutions don't just function, they resonate deeply. And they champion inclusivity.
Can you give some concrete examples?
Sure. Think about accessibility features in tech. Voice control, screen readers, adjustable text, haptic feedback. These weren't just dreamed up. They came directly from designers and engineers truly trying to understand the challenges faced by people with disabilities.
Like Microsoft's adaptive accessories.
That's a fantastic example. Highly customizable, even allowing 3D printed parts. That's designing with specific, diverse physical needs at the forefront.
And often, those features designed for specific needs end up benefiting lots of people, right?
Totally. Curb cuts are the classic example in the physical world, but it happens digitally too. Then you have personalized experiences. AI tailoring information, maybe simplifying language for someone with cognitive differences or providing visual aids dynamically.
Or even something like Spotify's playlists.
Yeah, while it's algorithmic, its success comes from tapping into that human desire for discovery and mood matching. It feels like it gets you. That's positive personalization driven by understanding user desires.
What about representation, seeing yourself reflected?
Hugely important.
Yeah.
Empathic brands focus on diverse representation. Fenty Beauty launching with 50 foundation shades wasn't just smart marketing. It was a direct answer to countless women feeling unseen by the industry.
A direct response to exclusion.
Exactly. And their marketing reflects that. Or platforms like Shopify, letting sellers create stores that feel culturally right for their customers. That's empathy for both the business owner and the end user.
These examples really show it's not just about being nice. It unlocks markets.
It absolutely does. It drives disruptive, user-centric design. Think about the first iPhone. It wasn't just new tech. It radically simplified things because Apple empathized with how complex phones had become.
Or Airbnb.
Yes. Features like translation tools or detailed accessibility filters address real traveler anxieties and needs, helping create that feeling of belonging anywhere.
So empathy helps find those hidden points of friction and turns them into opportunities.
Perfectly put. Warby Parker's home try-on program is another great case. They understood how awkward and sometimes pressured buying glasses felt in a store, so they flipped it, turned friction into a beloved feature.
It's interesting how these principles apply across the board, digital, physical.
The core ideas are universal. Deep listening, understanding diverse experiences, recognizing exclusion. Architects designing memorials like the Harriet Tubman Memorial are trying to communicate, we see you, we hear you, in physical form. That same drive should inform how we build digital spaces too.
And ultimately, this all adds up to a solid business case, doesn't it?
It's become a strategic necessity, really. All those companies we mentioned, Apple, Airbnb, Fenty, Spotify, Warby Parker, they show a clear link between empathic design and real business success. Market disruption, growth, fierce brand loyalty. It comes from truly serving people, including those previously ignored.
Okay, the power and success stories are compelling. But it can't be that simple. What are the pitfalls, the challenges?
And it's definitely not simple. There's actually been talk of an empathy backlash in design circles.
Really? Against empathy?
Not against empathy itself, but against using the word superficially. Like sometimes it becomes a lazy shorthand. Designers might say they're being empathic, but they skip the hard work, the actual research.
Ah, so it leads to decisions based on gut feelings disguised as empathy.
Exactly. Gut feelings, there might just be their own biases, and that's a major pitfall. The designer's own cognitive biases.
Yeah.
We all have them. You have to actively work to see past your own assumptions.
And if the team designing isn't diverse?
It makes it so much harder.
Yeah.
A lack of diverse perspectives on the team inherently limits your ability to understand different realities. Building diverse teams is crucial. Another challenge is just sustaining that emotional connection over a long project. Empathy needs constant attention.
Which brings up a critical point you touched on. Empathy isn't the research method itself. Right?
Absolutely crucial distinction. Empathy is the mindset, the lens. It informs how you do research, but it doesn't replace things like rigorous interviews, observation, testing. You need that real-world data to validate your empathic insights.
So you can't just feel your way to a good design.
No. The goal isn't just feeling. It's understanding needs deeply and acting strategically based on evidence. It's about building contextual intelligence. Taking shortcuts, relying only on intuition, that undermines the whole thing. That's what the backlash was pushing against, demanding rigor.
Okay, that makes sense. And gaining that deep understanding. It comes with serious ethical weight, doesn't it?
Immense ethical responsibility. When you understand people's motivations, their vulnerabilities, using that knowledge ethically is paramount.
Like what specifically?
Well, privacy is fundamental. Protecting user data, getting informed consent. Transparency, being clear about how data is used, making policies understandable, providing easy opt-outs.
And not using that understanding to manipulate people.
Critically important.
Hmm?
Positive influence, no dark patterns. Ethical design uses understanding for the user's benefit, never to trick or exploit them. Dark patterns are unethical precisely because they leverage psychological understanding against the user. Empathy without ethics is dangerous.
Wow, yeah. That deep understanding gives you the power to potentially do harm if you're not careful.
Exactly. It heightens the stakes. Other things include cultural sensitivity and inclusion, respecting norms, diverse representation, testing with varied groups. Thinking about mental well-being, are we designing addictive loops or promoting healthy use? Even sustainability, the environmental footprint of our digital creations. True empathic design builds these ethics in from the start.
Looking ahead now, how does something as big and complex as artificial intelligence intersect with all this?
AI. Well, it offers some incredible possibilities for enhancing empathic design, but also brings some serious new challenges.
Okay, let's start with the opportunities.
AI could help scale personalization like never before. Imagine generative AI adapting an interface or content on the fly based on someone's specific cognitive needs, language, maybe even their current emotional state. Really responsive experiences.
Tailoring things at a massive scale.
Exactly. And it can significantly enhance assistive tools. AI is already making things like real-time captions, image descriptions, sign language translation, and screen readers much better, boosting accessibility. It can even help designers with proactive accessibility checks, flagging issues early on.
But the flip side, AI doesn't actually feel empathy, does it? It's crunching data that has human biases baked in.
That is the fundamental issue. AI is a tool. It learns from our data, reflecting our behaviors, our decisions, and yes, our biases. If we're not super careful, AI can easily amplify existing inequalities and unfairness. It reflects the empathy or lack thereof in its training.
So the human designer's role becomes even more critical in an AI world.
Absolutely. The UX designer working with AI becomes sort of an ethical guardian, a systems thinker. They need to actively address biases in AI models and data, working closely with data scientists, auditing results, pushing for diverse data sets.
They also need to make the AI understandable to users.
Yes, ensuring transparency and explainability. Helping people understand why an AI suggested something or made a decision, especially when it has real consequences for them. Making the black box a little less black,
Yes.
actively embedding ethical guidelines, fairness, inclusivity into the foundation of AI systems, and doing incredibly rigorous inclusive testing, getting AI tools in front of diverse users, especially underserved groups, to catch problems the team might miss.
It sounds like it demands way more cross-disciplinary collaboration.
Totally. Designers, AI developers, data scientists, ethicists, accessibility advocates, everyone needs to work together. Designers aren't just making screens look good, they're shaping the ethical core of these powerful systems.
Wow. This whole conversation really underscores that empathy in design is so much more than just a nice idea. It's a powerful force.
It really is. It shifts the focus from just function to creating genuinely meaningful experiences. It's a continuous practice, listening, understanding the why, constantly refining.
And a key driver for inclusivity, really pushing back against those historical exclusions.
Exactly. And even with the challenges, the biases, the need for rigor, the ethics, that deep commitment to disciplined empathy is what makes design truly great.
So for designers listening, the message is clear. Treat empathy as a core discipline, ground it in research, uphold the ethics.
Yeah. Seek out diverse voices, challenge your assumptions relentlessly, and be the user's advocate, always.
And for everyone else, maybe start noticing how design makes you feel. Demand that empathy from the things you use.
And perhaps think about how bringing a bit more empathic thinking into your own interactions could make the world around you a bit more inclusive, a bit more understanding.
Ultimately, especially with AI coming on strong, our collective future depends on creating things that aren't just smart and efficient, but deeply empathetic, fair, and truly inclusive. Designing with heart really does make people feel seen and valued.
It makes you think, though, doesn't it? If empathy is really about feeling with someone to grasp their needs, what does it mean when we create systems like AI that can scale that understanding to millions, but lack the actual capacity to feel? What kind of responsibility does that put back on us, the humans, to ensure these powerful tools reflect our best intentions, our highest ethics, our capacity for genuine care?